In 2 Kings chapter 4, there's a fascinating story about a widow who was in a desperate situation and was asking Elisha for help. She'd been married to a prophet, and he must have had a good reputation in ministry because she says to Elisha, "You know that he revered the Lord." So Elisha obviously knew him. They had likely spent their entire married lives in ministry, but now he was dead and she was in debt. She no longer had any means of financial support, and her creditors were going to take her 2 sons as slaves to pay off the debt. So she would end up alone with no family and no means of support. It was a desperate situation. And in that culture, she would likely end up a beggar. Now, I'm sure at this point she was questioning God's love and care for her after a lifetime of service for him. I mean, wouldn't you? So Elisha asks her, "How can I help you? What do you have in your house?" Her initial reply was nothing at all. Well, this revealed her perspective. She had nothing and it was hopeless. Everything she would normally rely on for security was gone. So she saw no other alternative perspective than hopelessness. Then she added as an afterthought, "I do have a small jar of oil." Now to her, this fact was irrelevant and meaningless. But Elisha gave her a divine strategy to use, and to use something that we would consider to be useless. He said, "Go and get large jars and fill them with the oil from your small jar." Now I'm sure this sounded ridiculous and certainly impossible. But she stirred up enough of her little bit of faith that she had left, and she did it. And so much oil flowed out of her little container that she was able to fill up all the large jars. And then she was able to sell the oil, pay off her debts, and live on the proceeds. Her limited earthly perspective had blocked her from seeing a supernatural potential using what she thought was useless. So this small jar of oil was used by God to solve her problem supernaturally. He, in fact, had been watching over her and had heard all her cries for help and sent an answer, but in a very unusual way. So, are you in a situation that feels hopeless? Have you used all the tools and resources that you know of and there's still no solution in sight? Does God seem far away or disinterested in your situation? Then today I want to give you hope and break through all the hopelessness and all those lies that Satan is throwing at you. God has not forgotten you, and just like the widow, he's very interested in every detail of your life, and he's standing right beside you right now. Even though you don't feel him, he's right there, and he hears your prayers, he hears your cries for help, and he can bring a solution from anything that you might consider insignificant. So you never know where your answer or where your miracle may come from. So here are your 3 keys to a hopeless situation. 1, you need to trust God even when you can't see a solution and he doesn't feel close. 2, keep praying and asking for his solution. He's right there listening. And 3, worship. I know it might be hard, but worship is a powerful weapon of spiritual warfare. And when you worship, you bring the presence of God into your situation. And worship is demon repellent. They hate to be around worshipers. And when the presence of God is brought into your situation, it releases the supernatural solutions into your life. And it pushes out the darkness. And now I want to hear from you. Has God come through when you've been in a hopeless situation? Just leave your story in the box below so we can all be encouraged. And would you like to actually free your mind from being stuck in pessimism or hopelessness? Would you like a supernatural perspective on your life? Then why don't you join Kathy and me in Free Your Mind, which is our new weekly online video program. Together we will renew our minds and walk through transformation mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Just click on the link below this video for more information. And I'll talk to you again next week.